Oh, baby, you can't go through here. I gotta refix this. You gotta walk around. Okay, we are there. What's up, everyone? Welcome to yet another Stay Fishy Friday. I'm your, ultimate favorite host here. I'm your boy Josh. Well, unfortunately, if you guys watched the video today, you guys would know that my dad is sick and he will not be joining us tonight. So, he forgot. I think he did this one on purpose, but he copied the stream from last week, and just so happens it was 6 p.m. So I let him have this week, but normally I don't get here until about 6:30. But you know what? He's been laid up in bed, so Brittany went ahead and made him some soup and stuff, and he's in there taking a rest. So for tonight, you get Brittany with us. Say hi.
Hi.
All right, so we're going to start you guys off, of course, with the TRACY update. You guys are probably wondering, well, if your dad's sick, what happened to the mom? I hear some applause in there, so you know what? I must have a happy audience. Let me go to this message real quick. My dad gave me some notes, but a few days back, my mom did get taken to the hospital. They didn't know exactly what was wrong, but they couldn't get her temperature to come down. My dad gave me some notes. Her temp was 103. Her BPM was 45, and her heart rate went up to 115. So Mara was here that night, and they went ahead and called it. They called the doctor, told her to go ahead and bring her in. Turns out that she had an acute case of pneumonia. And they went ahead and put her on an IV with antibiotics, and they've had her there since I think Tuesday, if I'm correct. Today's Friday. Yeah, 3 days. So she was there Tuesday, and they did test her for COVID, which came back negative. She did not have COVID. She still has a temperature of 101. So the doctors called today and said she would not be home until at least next week. So that's, kind of perfect timing with my dad. It seemed like when she went into the hospital, my dad got to sleep for, 13 hours, and then he woke up and he was sick. So with all of that going on, I'm out there, I'm feeding the fish for him, letting him just, rest and try and, get past this sickness, making sure he's got his, Robitussin in there, his throat spray, his, his bonbons, his blankie, all that good stuff. So we'll go ahead and we'll keep on doing it. And I even offered, I came over, what time was it? Last night, it was probably about 7 o'clock, and I came over and I was going to offer to do the video that was supposed to come out today. And my dad was out of bed. He said, you know what, I didn't know if you were coming over tonight, so I roughed it, and I got out there, and he went ahead and stuck out that video. I was like, no, I just, got off work, did some stuff, and now I was coming over here to feed the fish, and I was going to offer to do it since you were sick. And he went ahead and got up and did it. Anyway, so if that's not determination, I don't know what is. So, all right, so that is it with the TRACY and Rich update, I should call it, So we got to come up with a drinking word. So, I had one all picked out, and the miss over here, kind of boycotted it. We flipped a coin.
We flipped a coin
right before the stream. She called it, so I couldn't use that drinking word. So we got to come up with a new one. You know what?
What?
What
are you thinking over there?
I'm gonna go with, I don't know, bad luck, because everyone right now is having some bad luck. My dad's having bad luck because he happened to get sick. My mom's bad luck. She's in the hospital right now. Had plans to go down, and we were doing the whole Christmas thing with my other brother that we didn't get to see. So I went ahead and canceled that because I didn't want to leave Dad here, sick alone, and taking care of everything. And I was around him, so I didn't want to, contaminate everyone else. So we decided to stay back. Bad luck on top of bad luck, but you know what? We all get through it with a little help from our friends. And I don't know if you guys seen or not, but Rodrigo from Predatory Fins was also having some bad luck. And we're going to go ahead and talk about this because I feel like he's one of the only semi-local fish keepers that kind of feels our pain. A lot of people around us, they don't really deal with these huge, massive aquariums doing cross-country road trips, and, tires flying off, tanks coming unloaded, straps breaking, about to lose this tank. Well, Rodrigo was driving up from Florida, right? He had his pickup truck. He had this long flatbed gooseneck trailer with that 3,000 gallon huge acrylic aquarium that it came from Vincent Wu that just, probably about a year ago, he moved from California down to Florida. Now he's moving it to Copain, I think it is, or Copagan, New York. Well, whatever it might be, it's right out on Long Island. He's about 9 hours from us right now. And he was driving his truck and trailer. He hired someone else to come in and drive a Penske 26-foot box truck. And he was driving his truck and trailer. This CDL driver was driving the box truck. And, coming around New York, you have things called parkways. And on parkways in New York, they are very, very strict about no trucks, no trailers. And there's a good reason for that. And there's these so-called things called bridges. And this guy in the box truck did not apparently read the sign. And he, there we go, let's restore that chat. There we go. He didn't read the signs. And you guys can probably guess it, the speed limit over there on some of these parkways are 55 miles an hour. And here's a low bridge. Here's a big box truck. Bam. Now, it wasn't just a crinkle cut and he stopped. This thing basically shaved the whole top of the truck off. It was like an accordion and bent all the way down. Basically looked like a transformer came down, ripped the top of this box truck off and said, "That's mine." So he had to deal with that while moving his fish tanks up. Not even the first load yet, and he's already got to deal with his box truck that has the whole top ripped off. Doesn't know if any of the tanks got broken in the process. And he was actually unloading them while I was leaving work today. So we probably got it all unloaded now. So I don't know what kind of hassles that they had trying to rip that top off to get the door to open to be able to unload the truck, or if they just took some saws and cut it. I'm sure it'll all be on video, but that would be a great one to watch. But that is some super bad luck. That is terrible. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this chat up real quick because I don't have my dad to talk while I'm pulling all this stuff up. So just bear with me, guys. You know what? I think I'm still good on time. It's 6:09. I've got until 6:30, right? Just kidding. But I do want to welcome Shari J to the green team. I know that was in the chat before the whole stream started, so I think that's it. I do not see any super chats in there, so I think we're good. People are asking if Reap's coming. He is not coming. I do believe he was here earlier today, but as you guys probably know, when someone's sick, they don't want to be around and get contaminated and stuff like that. So tonight you just have me and Brittany. Everyone's saying you're an upgrade.
See, that's some good luck. I saw somewhere in the AZ Fish stream said that he's now driving a convertible. That's funny.
That is true. The first convertible box truck. Well, I wouldn't say the first, but yeah. And let me tell you, Penske is not an easy company to deal with either. Every time I've rented a Penske truck, it's always been the stake bed or the 26-foot box truck. And Penske and both budget I've had bad encounters with. So the only one I haven't was Enterprise so far, you know, knock on wood. But every time we've rented an actual box truck, we've went on these, you know, massive rescues. We're picking up, you know, big, huge fish tanks. And I always take a video of when I pick up the truck. However, I did not take a video of when I dropped it off. But now that is common practice because both Penske and it was Ryder, not Budget. No,
It was budget.
Budget. So both Budget and Penske, they sent us bills for cracked windshields, and I'm like, that windshield was not cracked. Like when your cashier came out and took the truck, walked around, it was all fine, and now all of a sudden, 2-3 weeks later, we get a bill in the mail for a windshield. We tried fighting it, and then they ended up charging us for the downtime that the truck was not in use and could have been being rented out, and that costed more than the windshield.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of just stopped us from ever wanting to rent a box truck again, or at least, you know, protect our ass long enough that we don't have to deal with it.
Sounds like some bad luck to me.
Mm-hmm. Always. So it seems like if you mix big fish means big tanks means bad luck. Because there's always something that could go wrong, you know. And it seems, you know, every time we've gotten everything back here, our luck kind of turned around. You know, we've had that 4,400 gallon on the trip back from Long Island. It sat in our driveway for 2 whole winters. So that tank was wrapped up, a heater inside it, thermometers, cameras, and that tank's been serving us well now for what, 12 years? And then we had the same thing happen with the 2200. That thing sat outside for a whole winter. So I'm trying not to make this same thing happen with the 1,000 gallon. I don't want that thing sitting outside all winter. So I got to start working on getting all this stuff moved. But there is a process. If you guys didn't watch the video, you've got to get the tanning bed from its spot, put it downstairs. And then my dad's electrician friend can rerun the electrical right downstairs. Would now open up the area for the Dwight Howard tank to come over. I then have to take a grinder and I have to grind away little square cement around the poles holding in the railing for the pool steps, because the Dwight Howard tank can't get around the railings for the pool unless we move the hot tub. We don't want to move the hot tub because that thing's heavy as hell and there's no where to put it. So the best of, you know, both cases would be taking that railing out, rolling the tank past, and then re-cementing them railings back in. Once that happens, the area where the Dwight Howard tank is now opened up, and we can go ahead and wheel in the 1,000 gallon and set that puppy up in place, take a little bit of a breather, and then I can start working on plumbing.
There's lots to do for that one.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me look at this chat a little bit. So if you want to, you can pull up your phone.
Oh, you want me to be in charge of super chats?
You can if you'd like, or if you see any comments that are, you know, jumping out at you, go ahead and read them off, because I can't read the chat all like that. We've got Lasky and Sons Woodworking, $5. He said, hopefully Tracy and Rich will feel better soon, but I did get my new flagtail about 5 inches long, and he's getting along with my Oscar and other fish. That is awesome. That's good news. We're glad you're not having, you know, bad luck. So, you know what? Hats off to you, and I hope everything works out. They are great fish. Easy in there, bud. I hear him in there coughing. All right. Eric Heddick says the food is good in Long Island, but everything else sucks. So, you know, I also said something about it that, you know, Rod would have kind of a wake-up call coming from Florida and jumping right into Long Island. Like, you get hammered with snow on Long Island. It's super cold. The ice is astronomical, and it seems every time I go to Long Island, we get caught in a snowstorm. It's not fun. It's bad luck. So we have Wonder Bread said, Josh, the new crib is amazing. Sheesh. Well, thank you. There's actually a lot more that's happened. Oh, I just broke that.
Ooh. Oh, jeez, ow.
Yeah, it's all right. So I'll show you guys a picture, give you a little sneak peek. Scroll past those. Where's it at? Nope, nope, nope. I promise it's right here. What's that? The little thumbtack sticking out of the table. So you guys know I was working on the bathroom in my basement. It was just a gutted room. You guys probably seen that in the video. We were working on the framing. Well, this is what the bathroom looks like now. It is pretty much all finished. You know, the tiles in, the shower tiles in, everything works. We just got the toilet and the vanity installed. And I have to go and buy a few more odds and ends to finish up that whole project. And I think we should be good. So I'll get that done this weekend, actually. So since I'm not visiting family and I've got a couple extra minutes on my hand, I'll go ahead and get that finished up and call that project done.
Samantha asked what our favorite room in the house is. I love the kitchen.
Yeah, the kitchen is absolutely beautiful. It's, you know, all granite countertops, but it's not like normal boring granite. It's got this, you know, all different types of stone through it, like iron ore, and some of it's glittery, some of it's like earth tones. It's super neat. I don't know what you want me to call it, the Italian granite. I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's nice. Beautiful. We got the Headache aquarium hole, $5. Said, Josh, did you get a chance to look at bumblebee catfish you guys picked up? Was wondering what kind it was. So I didn't actually see it until I was moving stuff around, and he was attached to one of the little pieces of decoration in there. I don't exactly know what kind it is. I haven't gone through them with a fine-tooth comb yet. So what I did with that is I separated them by, you know, these are going in the Bellagio, these are going in the 1,000. You know, here's, you know, all these different tanks where all these different fish are going to go. Once they go through quarantine, they're going to go ahead and go into their respective tanks. So couple weeks and they should be out of quarantine and be good to go. We also have a couple eels in there. So right now we are kind of jam-packed. I have a lot of fish in quarantine right now, but also have a lot of fish that we can give away too. So I haven't actually posted that list. I might post it up probably tomorrow and say, hey, you guys want them? Come this weekend. I'll be around. Have to, you know, set up an appointment and we can go ahead with that and rehome a bunch of fish. We've got small fish and we've got big fish. We've got, you know, communities, we've got cichlids, we've got, you know, iridescent sharks. However, we don't have no pacu, which is surprising.
That is surprising.
We have giant gouramis, we have red-tailed cats, we have alligator gar, we have little pictus cats, we have smaller tetras and, you know, community fish, guppies, stuff like that. There's a bunch of different Central American cichlids too that we got in. They came in, said, you know what, we had problems with this tank, or there's one lady had a fire, or, you know, there's just lots of fish coming to us all the time. So those have gone through quarantine, can go to their new homes once I get around to making that list. I might make that tonight and actually post it, give people some time to, you know, get some plans together and make their way up here. I'm trying to keep, you know, the big guy up in the house, so, you know, he's not spreading his germs, and, you know, make sure he's fed and good, and get him back on his feet soon enough so he can get back to work. All right, let me see what I can read out of here. Oh, another super chat. AZ Fish Room, $5. He said, I had bad luck this week. Everyone drink up. You know, bad luck sucks. Everyone has it. It's just a matter of when is it going to happen. A heater of mine broke and my GSP tank got up to 110. Holy crap. Lost them both. I am so sorry, but it always sucks when, heaters malfunction on you. That's one thing I'm kind of, grateful for, that we don't use a lot of heaters. Because, if you have, say, 20 tanks set up, that's 20 different heaters that could potentially be a problem. There's two ways that they could malfunction. They can malfunction and basically cook your fish, like what happened here, and there's nothing you can do about that, or they can malfunction and turn off, and your tank can get down in temperature, and sometimes you don't notice it. Like if you're in the winter time and your heater goes out and you're like, oh, the rest of the tanks are fine, so I'm not going to bother checking that one. That's why it's super important to always go through and check your guys' equipment, even if you think it's good, because there's times I walk out to the fish room and I'm like, you know what, the tanks look great, but oh crap, that's not splashing, that air bubbler's not on. Like I walked in the other day, this could have been some very bad luck. And I walk in, I'm like, this place is too quiet. Why is it too quiet? And I realized, I'm like, oh, the bubble wall's off on the Bellagio tank. Oh wait, the bubbles are off on the quarantine racks. They're not getting no filtration because they ran off of all of air. And I start looking around at all the tanks. And I'm like, there's no air in any of the tanks. What happened? So I set everything down. I start looking around. I check the two linear air pumps. They're both plugged in. They're both on. They're both connected. So I'm like, all right, what could have happened? Either, these things aren't pumping the way that they should be, or something broke or something came apart. Turns out that over on top of the Bellagio tanks, the air line had actually popped apart, and I went ahead and got up there and fixed it, and problem solved. We didn't have no issues. We caught it, probably right as it started to happen, because I didn't see anyone in quarantine stressing, because those would be the first ones showing signs, because the rest of them have water, splashing, going through the system. So those tanks on the system could have probably lasted a long time without the air. But the quarantine racks, you might have, 20 cichlids in this tank and a 75-gallon going through quarantine. No air in that. They probably last about an hour before they're up at the top and they're gasping for air. Who knows? But we caught it just in time, and we got to it. Yeah, we got John Doe in the chat. He said, damn, Rich Jr., put in that work on your bathroom. Looks good. Thank you. Yeah, he's been over, he goes to work. My phone. Oh, yeah, I will get you to that in a second. I guess my dad's sending me questions to answer too. I guess my stream's not good enough.
Tell him he's got to send it in the super chat.
Yeah, you got to send it in the super chat, man. All right, so I was talking about my brother. So he works 8 12-hour days, and then on the weekends and sometimes after work he was coming out helping me with my bathroom. So when I got off of work, we then worked until probably about 8 9 o'clock at night, and we slowly but surely got the bathroom done. And once it's completely finished, I still got to find the shower doors. We'll go ahead and do another video on that, and show you some of the updates with the house. We do have some big announcements coming, fish related, all kinds. So it'll be fun stuff going forward. But this guy's dying to get his question read. He said, Project Ram Runner said, are you guys ever going to put Schwarzenegger in the pool pond? And the answer to that is no. So here's the reason why. Schwarzenegger is already like an 80-year-old man. He is super old, and we don't really want to stress him by moving him into the monster pond. Everyone gets picked on in the monster pond for like the first 3 days, and if they can defend themselves for the first 3 days, everyone seems to live peacefully. But with Schwarzenegger being so old and so massive, he's going to live out his life in that 4400. And also, he is a showcase piece, because I don't know anybody with a larger iridescent shark. He's super tall, he's girthy, and he's also a xanthic iridescent. I mean, you see platinum iridescents around, you see albinos around, you even see short bodies, you see short body albinos. but I haven't seen another full xanthic iridescent shark, and he's super special. And we've had him for like 20 years. He's super old and super cool, so everyone's going to be able to get to enjoy him until he sadly passes away. And, you know, that'll be a bad day. We got Grim Reaper 7595. That's our trucker buddy. He's actually the one who gave us Diesel. So he said, "This is Vinny. I'm in the hospital with COVID and sick as a dog." Well, Vinny, I hope you feel better, and let's hope that COVID stuff doesn't keep you in the hospital too long. Seems like you're having some bad luck, bud. So everyone, you know what? Just go ahead and grab that drink, raise it, and, you know, have a sip for everyone having some bad luck this week and pretty much every day, I guess. But you know what? We've got an hour and a half to go, so this party's just getting started. Let's have some fun. We can, you know, talk about the fish. So. So we got Jim Sheasley, $5. He said, "Hey, I was supposed to come out tomorrow. Should I wait till next week?" Jim, if you want, I will be around tomorrow. Just let me know what time, or my dad can let me know what time I'll be here, and I can go ahead and handle it for you. But that's totally up to you. If you want to, you know, hang out with my dad, you're more than welcome to wait until next week. But I am around, so if you want to come out, be my guest. Oh, nope, we didn't jump. All right. Pup 304 said some heaters can change temperatures if they get bumped. That is true. But we know something that I like to do with all of my heaters, no matter what tank they are in, is put a heater guard on them. And that could be as simple as using a piece of PVC pipe. Excuse me. Whoopsies. So that could be as easy as taking a piece of PVC pipe and then taking your sawzall and cutting little slits in it, or taking a drill and drilling holes in it all the way around. And then, you know, taking the cap and drilling through that and putting your heater in that, and take some like electrical tape and tie it to it. Or I've seen people take two caps, put the heater in, put the caps on, and then you just stick that heater in the flow of the water. And for one, your heater won't get bumped, and two, your fish will not get burned. So that's a big plus there. JF is asking, when do we get the Merman calendars? Got to re-wallpaper my bathrooms with them. Oh, Chickawawa. Hashtag Team Tracy. Oh, man. So I think next weekend, possibly, we could be getting the video done. As far as the calendars, that's up to my dad, and when he can get the calendars processed. So, you know, Reaper has his suit, I have mine, Dad has his. Jim Sheasley actually sent one for the dog.
Oh, it's so cute.
Diesel absolutely hates it, so we stuck it on her cat, and she loved it. I actually have a picture. I'm not sure if I showed you guys before. I'll show you again. It's a delightful picture.
DVO1 asked how you get along with the cats.
Me and the cats get along just fine, you know. You know, they get fed,
loves them.
feed them.
He's acting humble.
They sleep in our bed. They, you know, have free roam of the house. I'd say they're spoiled.
Yeah, rightfully.
All right, here it is. So Jim Sheasley, that outfit that you sent in, there goes good old Luna wearing the outfit. Isn't that adorable? So we might even have her on the calendar, you know, in the video, on the shoot. Could be cute, you know. So, something to make it a little bit edgy and spicy, you know. I might have Dad, you know, holding the cat in his mermaid outfit, coconuts on, you know.
Oh my God.
a purse in one hand. Has to be bedazzled though. OBG Foster says the monster pond sounds like a prison yard. Not a prison yard, but you have to understand one thing. With a 58,000 gallon monster pond comes with monster fish. When you deal with monster fish, they have monster personalities. So, you know, you get most of these fish from the wild. When they're smaller, they don't really have their attitudes. But when you get these things at 4, even 5 foot long, these things develop attitudes and they think they run the place. You know, right now, that them gar absolutely think that they run that pond. And then you've got big Brutus coming over like, no, you don't, little guy. This is my spot. And then we add in a big catfish and he tries taking over as alpha. And then the other catfish try putting a beating on him. And, you know, I'm just out there screaming like, hey, everyone, can't we all just get along? Like, I feed you, give you good water, a sweet enclosure, all the room in the world to you know, swim. You've got no one trying to fish you out of the waters and eat you. You know what? Just live happily and, you know, don't be an ass. You know, we don't need more bad luck.
Where's your slur jar?
It's right there. What did I say?
Ass.
Oh. Excuse me, guys. Oh, we got Sue Ann and Steve says the members only pick was To Die For. I can't wait for the calendar. I thought I actually posted that to the members first, and then I posted it to the normal community tab.
What was it?
Did I not? The picture of me in the mermaid suit.
Oh no, I don't think you did.
If it didn't post, I'm sorry, guys, but you know what? Let's get this in all of its glory right now. Are you ready? Are you really ready?
Brace yourselves.
You guys might want to sit down for this one, all right? You guys might want to sit down. Just saying. Bow chicka wow wow. So the resolution is a little bit better on YouTube. If you remind me, I'll post it to the community tab again. I thought it was up there because, you know, someone was saying something that, you know, all the guys who donated to the Mermaid Fund, we shouldn't have to pay for the channel to see the picture too. I'm like, yes, you are absolutely completely right. So I went ahead and posted it the next day, but now I'm here and it was not posted. So I will check into that. And, you know, I'll let you guys all laugh at me. It's all right. It's fun. You guys will be getting a whole video about it here soon. We have Kieran for $5. Says, hello, Brittany and Josh. Do you have tanks at home or is OFR enough?
We have one at home. We've got a tank of pea puffers, which I just think is so funny. I have like the smallest fish you can find, and then he has all the biggest fish you can find.
It is a 15-gallon Aqueon cube. It's a square tank, but it's like 2 foot tall. It's sitting on a nice, you know, dark black stand with a dark cherry wood front door and a black canopy as well. It looks real nice and it's fitting for pea puffers.
Yeah.
And there's what you got 3 in that there now, 8. So you're gonna have 11 total.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we actually had that in the video of the tour of the house, and she has that all like live plants, and there's, you know, blue ball stratum in the bottom for the plants, and she doses it every couple of days with plant food, trying to get that to look like a big jungle, so all the pea puffers have little places to hide, and they're not fighting. We have a big colony of tubiflex worms, or black worms that they call them. Down in the substrate, and they're actually starting to breed, so hopefully we can establish a natural form of food. There's also Malaysian trumpet snails in there, and the big ones will kind of eat them up too, but the goal is there's probably about 200 of those things in there. They can breed faster than the snails can, or the puffers can pick off the snails. We have to welcome our girl Ange to the green team. Welcome, Ange.
Welcome, Ange.
And she chimed in for $15. She said, hashtag Team Tracy, hashtag OFR Rocks. Happy Friday. And she said, bad luck, so everyone take a drink. This cup's cool. It blends in.
Oh, that's cool. It's invisible. You can see the fish swim through it while you drink.
Good. Fish are friends, not food. Green Queen said, oh my goodness, my eyes will never be the same. You know what? You might want to take them words back, because you're going to see my dad and all of his greatness in this, mermaid outfit. That's going to be a sight to see. And I don't think none of us are going to hold our composure this entire video. We might just be all just hysterically laughing our butts off like, what are we doing? But you know what? We said we do it. It's all fun and games. So it is coming. But it seems like every time we're ready, we're waiting forever for all the suits to come in. They finally came in. And then I took off and hightailed it to California. Actually, we did. Yes. Tell them about the trip.
Oh my gosh. It's just a lot of driving.
It was long.
A lot of driving.
So after we got back from California, I'm like, all right, let's go ahead and do it this weekend. Oh, nope, going to do Christmas with the family, and then Dad gets sick. So next weekend it has to happen. So Reaper, I see you're here. Plan on next weekend. We're going to do the Mermaid video. And I'm telling you guys, this video has to go viral, okay? If this doesn't, you know what? Not even viral. I want to get at least 100,000 views. Then I could know it's truly appreciated.
So you have to share it when it comes out.
I'm just saying that everyone who watches it is absolutely going to love the video, and they're gonna, you know what? This was money well spent. It took them what, 3 weeks to do it. But they're all going to be happy. But, you know, this could be the gift that keeps on giving. And you could be halfway across the world, and they're like, oh, my God, look at Fat Man mermaid costume. Look at Skinny White Boy. Look at Willie Nelson in a mermaid costume. Oh, man. You know what? I'm starting to have cold feet about this already. All right. No, we got to do it.
Yeah, you're both.
Yeah. What convinced me to get a Wonder Woman mermaid?
Oh, that was me.
Hey, it will be fun. So, what? We'll just chalk that one up to bad luck. Everyone, have a drink. Bruce614 says, I think my frog ate my green terror. He is for sure missing. This dude is killing me. If the frog can fit it in its mouth, it is 100% very capable of eating your fish. If it is not able to fit it in his mouth, then you might want to check elsewheres. Hang on, here we go. Okay, next super chat. NL Marsky, NL for $4. Just a little donation from the Netherlands. Well, we do appreciate it. I know it's getting late over there, so we appreciate you. We appreciate you watching, and we appreciate the super chat. I've always, put Netherlands on my bucket list. I want to go there and see all the beautiful sights one day. I want to hit the Netherlands, Finland, Iceland. I think that would be cool. Yeah. Sweden
Iceland's
too.
So high on my list.
Yeah. There's a lot of places high on my list.
You got a long list.
Gotta hit the lottery. Chris Strapp says, Josh, what is the backup plan in case of power outage in the fish room? So the backup plan is as usual. We have huge generators that we can power on, and we can power just the air pumps if we think it's going to be a short power outage, or we have the big monster generator. We can turn on and power the actual pumps for the filtration. Luckily, there's very few pumps that can run the entire system. So if we plug in 2 in the monster pond, we plug in 1 going to the 4,000 and 1 to the Bellagio's, that would basically filter all of the tanks, including the 2 air pumps, and that would basically act as though our fish tanks were not affected by the power outage. And you could fill up the tank of gas and it lasts, 4 hours on the small generator. On the large one, it's a bit more. But luckily, we do live in the city, so on the small chance that the grid is knocked out, it is not for very long. So the biggest thing that we have a trouble with is the winter time and what happens if our heater breaks. And we had just ran into this problem not too long ago. We had our boiler system run out on us. The what do you want to call it? The heat exchanger actually cracked, and it was leaking out water. So the boiler would not kick on no more and heat up the pond. It was completely toast. So my dad had to order a replacement. It was a 255,000 BTU boiler that could actually heat up all of this water, because we like to heat the room or heat the water through a boiler. And we noticed it when our pond actually got down to, I think it was 72 or 71 degrees or something like that. And my dad had to order a new boiler, but it took it was on back order. It took like a week and a half to get here, something like that. So we started doing everything we possibly could to heat up this water. My dad went up and bought PEX tubing, ran it through the hot tub, through a pump, so it heated up and put residual heat back into the pond. And then we also had to, at times, turn on the hot water and basically pump hot water into the pond until probably 2 or 3 days of that. We had some local guy says, "Hey, I happen to have the same exact pool heater that you guys are using. I haven't hooked it up yet. If you guys want to borrow it, you're more than welcome to. Just give it back when you're done." So we went out there, picked it up. I installed it that night. We heated up the pool. A week later, when the new heater came, we then swapped it out. And we were forever grateful. He stopped us from a big disaster. So that prompted us, we should have always a spare heater here on hand. But this is why we also teach it is great to have redundancy. So, what that means is, say, you're running your line to your heater. Why don't you tee it off and you have a second heater right there waiting to be hooked up? And most people like to just flip a valve, and you could run it from this heater to that heater. So if this heater breaks down, you can flip a valve, that heater will kick on while you're repairing this heater. That's called redundancy right there. You can do it as far as pumps go. You could do it for filtration. Right now, I'm kind of wanting to hook up some redundancy for the monster pond. We have a second System 3 Stay Right filter that we can hook up to the monster pond. So when this one clogs up, we can just flip a valve and hook it to that one. Or we run it through both at the same time to where it takes longer for the cartridge filters to actually fill up and get clogged. Either way would be fine by me, but what that involves is redoing our entire piping in that room, which we kind of don't want to get into right now, but soon, with enough upgrades, it will come. All right. Couple more super chats I know came in. Let me scroll down here. We have Reaper, $2. He said, "Too late to back out. Hashtag Team Tracy." I know, Reaper. I'm not backing out. I'm just, making it a fun stream.
I think he's talking about himself. He said, "Oh no," up there.
Oh, yeah. We are in this together, bud. We have Jim Sheasley, $5, says, "What do you feed your pacu?" They get pretty much anything. They will eat vegetables. I've fed them, grapes, raspberries, blackberries, whatever you want. They could get salad scraps if you want. They'll eat shrimp, tilapia. They'll bully anybody out the way for food. They will eat pellets. They're basically big like trash cans. They will pretty much just eat anything you put in the water. So normally when I feed the 3,000, I'm going to throw a bunch of stuff on this side, let the pacus come over and start greasing. Then I throw the rest on that side, let the other fish have a chance to eat. And you have to always make sure that all of your fish get enough food.
And you always have to stand back because the pacu love to splash you.
Oh yeah, that's splash zone. So everyone's always asking. The ground's always wet by the 3,000. Is it leaking? And I've told you multiple times, like, no, it's not leaking. My fish are just kind of mean. They try to splash you. So Big Betty will come by, swipe her tail, and there goes 10 gallons of water on the ground. There'll be times I'm feeding the 4,400 and I'm throwing food in there, and the arowanas come up and splash me, and I'm just drenched head to toe. Sometimes I'm mad, I'm yelling at the fish, even though they can't understand me. I'm like, all right, we have Bill Smith, $5, says we need an all catfish video and ray feeding video in the monster pond. So we've done those before in the past.
You just had that armored catfish video like a month ago.
Yeah. So I do think sooner than later the Rays will actually be going back to their home. So Rod is working on moving his stuff up to the new facility already. They're working on moving all of the tanks. The next load to go there is Kevin's tanks, and they're setting those up first so they can go ahead and start getting the Stingrays back and getting them back in their prospective breeding trios and pairs so that they can start breeding and making babies once again. So I guess I can go through and do a couple more videos on them before they are gone. But yes, Reaper is going to have to get past his fear of stingrays, or we do a little compromise. Reaper gets in the 3,000 or the 4,400, something like that. There's always ways around it. Or, me and my dad make sure there's no stingrays around Reaper. We have Alexandra Stengel, $5. She didn't say anything, so thank you. So we have a question here from Dubman. Says, how does rays get food in the wild? So they live down in the Amazon. There are some from Asia as well, as far as freshwater rays go. But they pretty much go, when they're smaller, they'll go into like the little fields in the water, the tall grasses and stuff, and they'll graze on shrimp. There'll be smaller fish in the water, and like any sort of predator, they do hunt. So a stingray will actually sit there on the bottom of the riverbed or something, and a little fish swims by, and then the stingrays will hood it, and their hoods are so strong, and they like cup the fish underneath the ray, and the ray starts to eat it. No matter if they're alive, they can't swim out, and the stingers will basically just chew on them until they are devoured or they don't want them no more. So stingrays are actually pretty ferocious when it comes to feeding and whatnot. You never want to starve a stingray because they will get food some way, somehow. Even if they're in a tank with big fish, they might hood a larger fish down and bite its tail off. Now this fish can't swim. Now it's sitting there stuck on the bottom, and the stingray can come around and bite on it and graze on it whenever it wants. Not really going to do a whole lot. It's going to take them a lot of time because stingray don't have teeth, but that's how they do in the wild. Espen Hofflin for 55 Knox says, nice background. What's your favorite African cichlid? My favorite African cichlid right now would probably have to be the trophiest that we have in the Bellagio tank. You will be able, this guy right here. He is super cool. I think he is super awesome. And he definitely stands out in that tank. I definitely do like the Venustus and the blueberry and strawberry OB peacocks. I think they are super neat.
Yeah.
What about yours?
Probably the peacocks, which I've been looking up there. I think this background's a little old.
Yeah.
We have a...
There's a lemon Jake right there. Pretty
I'm
cool.
like looking down here. What are you pointing?
Just some fish. Yeah, so it is time that we have to update our backgrounds. You know what? Maybe, 2 weeks from now, you'll have a background of us swimming around the monster pond in our mermaid outfits. And
Whole new fish.
Growmaster 87 said, "Chicklets, man, get it right." Yeah, you're right. We got the chicklets. Sylvia Jones says, have the rays in the big pond had any pups while they have been with you? We've only had the pups that were born in transport, and unfortunately those passed away. We have not had no other pups yet, but there is a lot of breeding activity going on, so there's definitely a lot of pregnant rays out there, and even in our in the fish room fish pond or stingray pond, there's a lot of breeding activity going on in there too. And I do believe the female BD is pregnant in there, and possibly the brown super spot Bosmani. So hopefully soon, guys, soon. Someone's asking for the stingray background. Let's see. Is it this one? There you go.
Yeah.
That one. First try. There we go. Dougie said Josh's bass tank would make for a great background. One of my favorite tanks at OFR. Especially right now, that bass tank is looking amazing with the new additions. That new Temensis we put in there is absolutely awesome, and they are all getting so fat. You've got just different bass hiding in the different holes, some up top, and they all just stare at you. And they're like, food? Are you gonna feed me, dude? And you put, food up top, and you throw it in, they're all just fighting over it. It's crazy.
Move that background under the webcam, and then you'll be able to see yourselves on there.
I was gonna say, where do we go?
Oh, yeah, right here. Oh, I'm sitting here. You guys can't even see us. There we go. Whoops.
Thanks, Rich.
Why didn't you say something? I'm sitting there reading the comments and stuff. Whoopsie daisy.
Oh, that's why Dubman said where.
So we have Alexandra Stengel for $10. She said, "Meet me again. Guess what I got yesterday? A Flowerhorn. He is beautiful like yours. He's like a puppy in a tank, loves to eat and hang in our bubble wall." Well, I'm glad you are enjoying them. They are great fish. They're super personable. The only problem that I have with Flowerhorns right now is like with Thanos, he's a beautiful fish, but his hump on his head is so huge that when he actually, eats, he's sticking his head out of the water, and he's actually developing like a small spot from where he's keeping the top of his, hump out of the water. So we have to devise a way to stop him from doing that, which I think I have. And it would be like floating plants to where he thinks he can't get out of the water, to where if he goes up and touches the plants, he's fine. To where when I feed him, I can just remove some of the floating plastic plant, and then toss his food in there. It would be in a contained little area. He'd come up and eat. Then I can put that back, and that'll eliminate that as being a problem. But like I said, they are great fish, and I'm glad you are enjoying. All right, guys, we are back. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't reading the comment. Onyx Game says, was that Jack Dempsey you rescued the other day an electric blue or just a regular? That was an electric blue. And you asking, are you planning on keeping it? Yes, we do have plans with the Jack Dempsey. 603 Liv says, you two laughing side by side reminds me of Beavis and Butthead. Well, who's Beavis and who's Butthead, huh?
Fair question.
Mandolin says, being a rescue, do you try to find other homes for all your fish, or do they stay forever with you? So we have a mixture of both. There's certain fish that come in and they get to go ahead and have their forever home with us. There are certain fish that come in that we rehome a ton of them. Like right now, we're going to have a ton of cichlids and whatnot to rehome, a ton of community fish to rehome. And we go ahead and give other people the chance at, you know, having these fish and getting some truly amazing fish. We don't need to keep everything, nor do we want to. So we do have lists that we put together that people have been asking, you know, if you ever happen to run by, say, you know, this type of fish here, if you ever get it in, please give me a call. So there are certain things like that, to where I might say I have a plan with a fish. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're keeping it. It might mean that we found the perfect home for it. It's already, you know, spoken for, or something of that matter. So yes, to answer your question, we do give out fish all the time. But the thing is, we haven't been filming a ton of it because we think here it's kind of monotonous and the same thing over and over and over. But we sort of realize that you guys that aren't here every day aren't getting to see us giving away all of these fish. So we might start adding in, you know, small clips of, hey, we've got, you know, Joe over here, he's coming to pick up these, you know, 10 fish. He's got a 75-gallon community tank. He's going to give these guys a home, and try and insert those clips into the middles, or, you know, different parts of our clips. Try and get a little bit of variety and show you guys more of the stuff that we can actually do. So I think that's a good idea. Serious Fish Keepers Canada. Again, about the while ago, is there someone local who could perform the gill surgery? No, there is not. However, we will get around to it. It is just not high on our priority list because he is living just fine. And we don't want to take on that right now. When we're, you know, a little bit more, have more time on our hands, and we're like, well, what do we do now? We can have the time, go ahead and buy the sedatives that we need, and then go ahead and do the video on that surgery. I know you guys are dying to see how it's done and if it truly actually works. So we will try and get on that, but we've got so much other stuff that's actually going on right now. We've got 1,000-gallon tanks, sitting in the driveway. We've got other, you know, 200-gallon tanks sitting out there waiting to come in. We've got the saltwater tank that needs upgraded, you know, just so many different things that we have to do that take priority over certain things. We have rescues that come in that take priority over, you know, getting these new tanks set up. So it will come together, just give us enough time. But we have Bubba James, $5. He said, first time watching Stay Fishy live stream. I always love the videos. Well, we appreciate you watching, and we appreciate you joining in on the fun for Stay Fishy Friday. Normally you get myself and my dad. But tonight he is sick, and you get myself and Brittany. All right. Onyx Game, so I was wondering how the Pima with the swim bladder issue was doing. Can you update us on him? Unfortunately, we've tried medicating him for a very long time. I probably spent $400 or so on different medications, trying different at-home remedies. We've tried lowering the tank down, heating up the water, Epsom salts, bacterial infections. So they got different rounds of antibiotics. They've got the kind that absorb through the skin. That would be Canaplex. We pretty much tried everything we possibly can, and he unfortunately did not make it. So, you don't always win every single battle with the fish, but all you can do is, try and do your best, and that's what we try and do here.
You talking about Bubbles?
Yes. Chris Trapp said, Josh, did you listen to the new Excision album yet? I've heard a few songs. I have not had time to actually listen to the whole album yet. I was actually talking to her about it last night.
Yeah.
And telling her that I wanted to, because normally what we did was sit out in the monster pond room. We pulled down the projector. We'll put on the visuals for the album, turn on the PA speakers, and you get a couple friends, you have some drinks, and enjoy. There you go. James Stone said, Josh, I'm sorry. Did answer my question about the Oscar and the 75-gallon tank on water changes twice a week at work, and I might have missed it. Thanks again, Josh. I'm not sure what that question was, so go ahead and re-ask.
Oh, you should have dressed up as your dad tonight.
Yeah, would have been fun for money. Yeah, that was a funny stream.
You gotta have to stop playing.
Oh yeah. There was another question up here I wanted to answer. Where did it go? I don't know. But Blake Weber says Brittany ain't doing too bad at being Josh. Josh is killing it as Big Rich and should have worn a wig. Way to hold it down. And thanks for the vid, Big Rich. Y'all are too dedicated to the channel. Well, we appreciate the kind words. I know if my dad were here, he'd say thank you, Blake, for not acknowledging. I didn't even expect him to get up and do the video, and I came here and he was out there doing it. So, you know what? Hats off to him. Fish Boss said, hey Josh, my 16-inch red-tailed cat just ate a 5-inch arrow. What do you recommend I do? First, I would recommend you should not be sticking small fish like that in with a 16-inch red tail. That is pretty big. So I'd say pretty much anything under 14-inch red tail can probably take down. Now that is kind of a little bit dependent, like say a pacu, a 14-inch pacu, he's super tall. A red tail won't usually eat him. But if you have like a 14-inch, say a bicher, that bicher will probably get taken down by the red tail. In this case, it was an arowana. They are long and slender, so 5 inches and 16 inches was not a good mix. I would recommend, if you have any other small fish that you think the red tail can eat, I would definitely separate them. And then I would, you don't have to worry about anything with the red tail. He's going to end up digesting that fish, and you'll be totally fine. It's super sad that it happened, but let's go ahead and use this as a learning curve. When we first started, we didn't know everything, but this is a community for everyone to learn from one another and help educate the masses. We're not here to shame you. We're here to offer advice and say, hey, this is what you can do. I would not advise you to do that. We want to, encourage everyone to keep fish, and this is a fun thing for everyone to do. It's, however, not fun to lose your fish, and it's kind of frustrating and makes you want to quit. So, you get the right guidance and advice, and you make it fun for everyone involved, and it's a nice, neat, relaxing thing that you can do. Look at that. Hang on. Got one more question. He said, Denise, he says, I know that you go to work to have a break from the fish room. What do you do for a living? You are so talented. I am a structural engineer for the city of Cleveland. So what that entails is anything from building design, might do, parking lots, water towers, water intake structures. I used to work on designing and building water mains and stuff like that. So I'll oversee the design of the project as well as the construction. And basically, I'm the big man on campus, and I make sure everyone's in there doing the right thing, the designs going right, and fun stuff. A lot of people don't like me because if they're doing their job wrong, I tell them, hey, all that concrete you just poured, rip it back out. You did it wrong. You didn't put this in there, or you didn't do that, or you forgot to do that. So I hate being that guy, but I absolutely do love my job. Uh-oh, Wes says, so I think my dad kind of sent me this question because he can't be here. He said, so when are you gonna make Big Rich a grandpa? Ha ha. Excuse my English, I am from Holland. I don't know. You guys are gonna have to wait and find out, I guess. But he does have 2 other children that he can pester for grandchildren. Just throwing that out there. I am the youngest of 3. Did you guys just see that alligator gar yawn over here? That was super neat. There we go, right there. That guy.
I missed it.
Uh-oh. There goes the last one. We have Ben Keat, $10. I just got back from a night out in England. Had to tune in. Hope Rich feels better soon. Well, hope you had a fun night out. I know it's getting late over there, so hope it was a fun one.
Someone had a great idea in the chat. They should have tagged you with Bruce. Gotta guess the appearance.
I'm a little more relentless with him. His teeth actually pinch.
I'm not trying to hurt you, Bruce. Fish are friends, not food.
All right, Reaper, $5.
Josh is Big Rich.
He said, Josh and Brittany's fishy friends. Who's Big Rich? Not sure what you mean by that, Reap.
I'm Josh. That's Big Rich. And this is Bruce.
Flood City Fish Keeper said, how can you tell if a red-tailed catfish is male or female? So to some it might be a little harder to tell, but the females usually get a little bit more robust. They do get larger, and normally they'll have like a yellow tinge. So where the red-tailed catfish is normally white, as they age they'll have like a yellow tinge to them. Majority of the time, that's how you decipher a female from a male, but there's sometimes it's super hard to tell. With catfish, a lot of them, it's hard to tell. Josh is Reaper. I'm going to have to ban this guy. Just kidding. Oh, man. OBG Foster said, what water projects are a natural fit for Josh? So, fun fact, when I actually went in for my interview, My boss actually knew of Ohio Fish Rescue, and when I went in there, I had it on my resume and stuff. Ohio Fish Rescue donating time for a nonprofit organization. He's like, yeah, watch you guys on YouTube. I'm like, that's awesome. So I think that might have had a little bit to do. He already liked me, put in a good word or something. James Stone said, Josh, I have a 10-inch Oscar in a 75-gallon tank. 75-gallon tank with 2 Marine 350s and a 75-gallon sponge. I feed him 3 frozen bloodworms a day. All he will eat is twice good for water changes, or is it too much? That is probably overboard on water changes, honestly. 2 water changes a week. He's living in pristine water, and he's probably loving life. And I would just give him a bit more time. Oscar should eat anything. He'll eat regular worm, shrimp, tilapia. But one thing that's always good for fish is if you have a companion in there and you have some competition in there, he'll see other fish eating the food and he'll come up and want to eat that same food as well. So competition is a good thing. And also seeing other fish eat, they'll know that it's safe to eat these types of food. Some are a little bit more picky than others, but they all end up coming around. 603 says, is Brutus Jr. about ready to jump in the pond with Big Daddy? No, I want to get Brutus Jr. about 4 foot before we even try that, because last time when Brutus was only about 4.5 to 5 foot, we put Bruiser in there, and he was an absolutely beautiful Arapaima. Now, when I tell you, Arapaima usually see 6-footers, they start developing that red, and it starts creeping up their body, and it could sometimes come up to their front fins, and it's absolutely stunning. Bruiser had all of his tail and part of his, like a quarter of his body already red, and he was like 2 foot. We grew him up to 30 inches. We tried him in there with Brutus, and he started attacking him. So we took him back out, grew him out to about 3 foot, to where we said he's got to be fine. We watched him all day. We fed Brutus probably about 1 pound or 2 of shrimp, and then we put Bruiser in there in the early morning, so he had all day that we could watch him. It was fine. We end up going to bed thinking everything's going to be all right, and we come out in the morning, and Brutus had Bruiser actually up in that corner of the pond, would not let him leave, and was just antagonizing him left and right. So I reached in there with a net, and I grabbed Bruiser out and put him back in the Stingray pond, to where he slowly, deteriorated over the next 3 days, and he ended up passing away. So I want to make sure that the Arapaima is larger this time. The definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and expecting it to work. So each time we try something different until something does work. This time we want to grow the Arapaima out just a tad bit bigger so he can defend himself that much more. And then we might even go as far as making a floating box to where the new Pima can go in the floating box for the time being, and maybe try it out for like a week, to where Brutus and the smaller Pima can actually get accustomed to each other and have a barrier, and hopefully being in the water long enough, these two can, interact and cohabitate. If not, then we might have to figure something else out. So that is where we stand on the Arapaimas in the Monster Pond. But it is our goal to have them both out there, because that would be freaking awesome. Would you mind getting me some water?
Sure.
Thank you. All right, and I do want to give a special thank you to all the mods in the chat tonight. You guys are doing absolutely amazing, and I just want to let you know you guys are appreciated. Here we go. We have Ben Keat 10 bucks. He said, I'm also an engineer that specializes in pneumatic machines and factories. Much love. Well, that there is definitely a specialty, and hope you enjoy your job as much as I do. Fish Boss says, thanks for the info, Josh. I will remove the small fish. My red-tailed cat will have a 400 to himself for now. Maybe a few alligator gar. Hope to visit someday. Well, that's awesome to hear, and I hope you don't have no more trouble with the red tail. Brittany, this next comment's for you. I'll wait to read that one. Well, we got Jeff Beatty, 5 bucks. He said, "Go Raiders." So he's our buddy from California. If you guys remember, he gave my dad that Jow cat, and he actually just sent us that awesome diamondback sturgeon. That thing is super sweet, and she is actually doing great. She is settling in well. You know, when she first came in, she would not stop swimming. She was super stressed. Now she's just sitting on the bottom of the tank, just gliding along. You know, we give her about a 50% or 25 to 50% water change every probably 3 days, and I'll use straight tap water, so it'll be probably about 50 to 60 degrees there, and all the cold water fish absolutely love it. So Brittany, this next comment, Bruce 614 says, got Brittany turning red, little lovebirds. That went down the wrong pipe. Oh God. I swear it's not open, guys.
Coughing is taboo lately.
Yeah, I breathed in while my dad's telling me to tell everyone how we met. you go ahead and tell them.
Well, which time is the real question?
Tell them both, I guess.
Well, my dad was in a different fish club, a saltwater fish club, and we used to come over here with them to have meetings, and we met then, but
So she
Josh
said.
forgot.
So she said.
But no, and then a few years later, we met on a good old dating app.
Facebook.
But Rich should tell the story totally different. He loves to take it all the way back.
Yeah, him and her dad were 30 years ago, friends in high school, you know, all that good stuff.
Then your dad texted my dad the other day. He was like, "You're stuck with me for life, buddy."
OBG Foster said, just a little bad luck, question mark. The dating app profile said must love fish, question mark. Actually, I don't even think I said anything about fish.
No, it was Diesel that won me over.
No, see, the funny thing about it is she knew who I was, and I wasn't 100% sure about her, and then I started doing a bit investigating, and I'm like, last name Demeter. I went on her Facebook, and we had no mutual friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so my dad didn't show up as a mutual friend at the time, and her dad didn't show up as a mutual friend, and you know I started, you know, putting pieces together, and I went through a friend's profile, you know, investigator Josh, and I found out I'm like, you're Dave's daughter.
Oh my gosh!
And here we are, almost a year later. My dad yelled, "Creeper!" Fishing with Dano said, "Don't lie, Brittany. You're with him for the tanks."
Guilty.
Ben Keat said, sounds like the Game of Thrones where the top fish families create a truce in a marriage.
Between salt water and fresh water.
Brittany Ziblis, $5 says, has your dad ever been on the show, Brittany? This has been a great episode. Hashtag bad luck turning good.
Yeah, no, he hasn't been on.
No, he hasn't.
Maybe we'll do a guest appearance one day.
Oh man, all about the gallons. That is right. No, the first question she ever asked me is, how many gallons is your biggest fish tank?
He had to pass the test.
Mike Stambo says, Josh, so what is your thoughts on the Acrylic Creations build quality? Been looking at having them build me a tank. All right, so honest opinion, it's a good tank, but there are a few slight flaws in the seams of the 2-inch thick acrylic. Now, this isn't something to put them down. I just think that this tank was a little bit outside of their, wheelhouse. With large tanks like this, you need huge facilities and the means to be able to put these tanks together. And the tank was done beautifully. I'll give it to you. It's a beautiful tank, but there are a few slight flaws in the seams, which I will show you guys as we get the tank set up and cleaned up, polished up a bit. And we can go ahead and have a video about that and talk about it. But I do like their tank, and I'll be able to give a little bit more of an honest, what do you want to call it, opinion on the tank once we have it set up and we're actually using it for quite some time. But from just first looks at it, the tank is good looking, and I have seen much of their smaller tanks, and some of their smaller tanks are pretty flawless. But the thing that gets to you right now is there's not many manufacturers that are manufacturing custom built acrylic aquariums. So it's super hard to find someone that will build you a tank of this caliber or larger. A lot of them are going under because of the never-ending increase in acrylic right now. This tank, the same 1,000-gallon tank, just probably about a year, maybe 2 years ago, would have probably been about $8,000. And then way back in the day, like when my dad bought his 1,000-gallon tank, that was, $5,000 delivered straight to our door. Now this tank here in New Times was just built 6 months ago. The family who donated it actually paid something like $20,000 for this tank, and then paid shipping to have it come out here. So shipping has gone through the roof. Materials have gone through the roof. And now Acrylic Creations have actually just brought back their scale on their operation because they lost a couple workers. So it's just the 2 guys building tanks in their workshop again. So they are very limited on what tanks they're going to take on and what projects they will actually do. So keep that in mind and enjoy. We got Will Star, $10. He said, how was California? Josh and Britt, did you see a Sasquatch out there? So California, you know what? Not California. Los Angeles and San Francisco area were beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I thought you were gonna talk smack about LA some more.
The highways in LA were god awful. They were terrible. Yeah.
Not even the traffic, just like literally the road quality was so bad out there. Like it makes our highways in Ohio look good.
So with any large city, there are bad neighborhoods. There are good neighborhoods. We drove through at LA. There was cool sights to see. Same thing with San Francisco. On the way in, we drove through Berkeley, and then we went up to Santa Rosa, and then when we came back down, we went over the Golden Gate, and we went actually down through downtown San Francisco. And I'm like, if I'm here, you got to get the whole Full House experience. And the funniest part of the entire trip is we're coming through this mountain where it says, you're now entering onto the Golden Gate Bridge, and you come out of this tunnel, and you just open up and you see this huge Golden Gate Bridge. And me and Brittany both just, first thing out of our mouth was, everywhere you look. And then we drove over the Golden Gate Bridge, and that was fun. Then we drove down all them hills, flat, the picturesque San Francisco, pictures you see. So we drove through that, and that was cool. Get away! Don't want that germs on me. So also, not another kind of exciting thing we did. I tell Brittany, because we had these couple things we wanted to stop and do. I wanted to stop and see this national monument, and I didn't know you had to pay to go hiking in a national monument, and the traffic was terrible. So we're like, screw this, let's go somewhere else. And Brittany picked out this spot online. You're supposed to see the Golden Gate Bridge and all this stuff. It was a cool hike. So I start driving down there. Now, mind you, I have this truck and trailer, this 1,000-gallon tank on the back, and the road ends. And then there's just like dirt, and there's hundreds of people walking by, and there's lines of cars lined up behind me. It's a 2-lane road. And I'm like, all right, now I got to turn this truck and trailer around. And I'm like, these people are being absolutely retarded. Like, they're being ridiculous. There's people who walking across 6-lane highways.
Oh my gosh, it was insane.
Like, I thought New York was bad because they'd walk across the highway. This guy, full on 6-lane highway, and he just casually hopped the barrier and goes doop 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 doop, like this dude just was playing Frogger.
Yeah, like literally just walks, doesn't even jog.
Yeah. So that's like what I'm referring to, just people being idiotic like that. And I'm trying to turn this tank around, this truck and trailer and tank around. And normally I see someone like that, I'd stop and say, all right, hold the traffic, let him, make his turn. Now, granted, there was one lady when I was backing up and I was already done. I handled it myself. She said, "Come on back, you're fine." I'm like, "Thanks, I got it."
She tried.
Yeah, but people, I'm sitting there backing up. People are walking behind my trailer. I'm like, dude, you're gonna get hit. Like, stop walking behind the trailer. So you know what? But we got it done. We got it turned around, and you've got people all in their Teslas. They're trying to zoom past me, and there's a guy with a horse trailer in front of me. I'm like, you guys are not going to get through. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to drive like a true San Franciscan. I'm going to drive down the middle of the road, and you guys are going to get the hell out of my way. I'm not going to risk breaking my tank. She's over there giggling in the passenger seat the whole time. And we ended up getting back to pit pavement. And
so that tank did a bit of off-roading.
Mm-hmm. You tell me if you know someone crazy enough to take a 1,000-gallon tank off-roading. That tank has been through the ringer, and it did not break. That tank is a trooper. So you know what? I guess that should be a plus for the builders.
There you go.
Or the guy who loaded it, but I'm not trying to toot my own horn. Me. Oh man. All right, let's get back to some questions here.
603 Living says the 1,000 would look so good where the dog bone is. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. But the second that bone's moved, it's out of commission. It's another project. Right now, it's being used. Don't have to move it, and this way we get more tanks set up. All right, questions. That
Samantha said, "Get back
your
in
language.
bed."
This is a family show. I don't think I swore I said that truck and trailer. You gotta, we gotta watch these guys. All right, so I don't see no new questions in the chat. Someone keeps asking about the Ray pups. We have not had no new Ray pups. Question: how is Lone Star? Lone Star is doing great. We actually drove through his home state, and it smelled like cow manure the whole time. It was stanky. But you know what? California smelled worse. My goodness, there was this stretch of land. So
oh gosh,
the farms in California are huge. They're like huge, like 100-acre like ranches, and they span the whole length of the highway. So on the way there, we just had to drive by it and smell it. On the way back, we did the same thing. But on the other side, these are 2-lane highways. There was an accident, and the highway traffic was backed up for literally miles. And they're sitting in this stank smell. Like, even if you have your windows up,
had our shirts up,
you're still getting the smell. It was raunchy. I felt so bad for them people sitting in that traffic jam because there's no exits. You're in the middle of nowhere. You can't turn around, and there's miles of cars behind you. And I'm like, I wish I had a sign for people to turn around now, but you know what? They're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah, it's raunchy.
Yeah. Will Star said that 1,000 would hold some amazing saltwater fish. Just saying, son, LOL. That 1,000-gallon would also get destroyed being a saltwater 1,000-gallon tank. Just saying. It'd get scratched up, and, it'd be a big turd in about 2 years. Ben Keats said that school of African cichlids in your pond is insane. How they have not been eaten. So you know what? I kind of give this analogy that's kind of like giants going after crumbs. You kind of exert more energy trying to go after them than they're actually worth. We feed that pond enough that they don't want to actually go after them fish. Every now and again we might have someone that gets an attitude and wants to pick on a certain fish. Like, we had an iridescent shark that was getting picked on almost to the point to where we were having to remove him, and we ended up got to a point to where they stopped picking on him, and he recovered, and he's doing fine. Just the other day, I walked out there, and one of the albino channel cats had gotten bit on the tail, but he has since then healed up. So it's things like that we have to keep an eye on, but somehow not the cichlid colony. And right now, that is nothing compared to the colony that's in there right now. So that is also why, we could have thrown more African cichlids in there, but the colony is so strong in there. There's literally hundreds of them, and they're always breeding like crazy. That says something about your water quality and your habitat. If your fish will want to breed, you're doing something right. So that's also why we have the chance to give out, African cichlids to some of our, followers and whatnot. We try not to add nothing to the Bellagio tank unless it's something that we don't have. So like a lot of the yellow labs and the Arapaima, and a lot of the blues and yellows and oranges that we have hundreds of out there. Whenever we get those in, we can now put them through quarantine and rehome them as well. And you know what? That makes a lot of people happy. You know, they get some cool fish. You know, they might not be able to afford to buy some of these African cichlids for, you know, 20 and 40 bucks a piece, and they can get expensive. So you know what? They get some free fish out of it. We get to see these guys go to great homes, and everyone involved is happy. I don't know what that is. Will Star. Uh-oh. Brittany, do you like Rodney Dangerfield?
He's not bad. He's like an old comedian. Random question.
Someone also said, I'm sure a lot more get eaten than you think. So I tell this to people all the time. I'm sure some get picked off, but they do multiply more than they can obviously get picked off because the colony is growing. So I'm sure some do get picked off. And we thought with the Stingray population going in there that they would decimate our cichlid colony, but somehow it has not happened. And you know what? They're a big, happy family out there. So we are going strong. Sonny said, stop feeding the big fish. They have live bait. No, you know, I like creating that whole natural ecosystem there. So having smaller fish in the tank means that some of the waste from the big fish, the smaller fish will feed on that. My dad does throw pellets in there for the cichlids and stuff, but not a whole lot that the whole colony can survive because they are eating on scraps from when we feed the monster fish, and they're eating on pellets, they're eating plant matter, they're eating, you know, waste from the large fish as they poop it out. It's kind of gross, but that's what fish do. I'm looking at the background while I'm talking. I'm looking at the different fish. Back off, old man. See, you know, even when he's not here, I'd say he's in spirit, but he's just this distant voice back in that corner. All right. There must be more in the pool than in the Bellagio by now. That might be actually a fact, but there are a ton in each. So I cannot decide, but there are a ton in each. And Bruce got it right. He said the monster will waste so much energy trying to chase those fish around, and that is absolutely true.
Did someone say Bruce?
Dave Hudson says, have you got any fish in that can get too big even for the pool pond? Not really, because that pool pond right there is, you know, a little bit over 20 foot wide and 45 foot long. So that would take a very, very massive fish to outgrow. You know, some of the largest fish that we have right now would be the Arapaima. The alligator gars get massive. The sturgeon gets massive, but it'll be in the outdoor koi pond, and that thing is also massive. So, you know, what we always preach is to make sure you have the amenities for these fish before you get them. You know, all these people that buy this cute little diamondback sturgeon or Arapaima from the pet store just because they want it for their 180-gallon tank because the fish looks cool. They're not actually thinking about the long term and what happens when this fish is 8 foot long. What are you going to do with it? It's going to break your tank. And that's where they, you know, coined the term tank busters. Those are fish that can get large enough that can actually break your aquarium. So you try and stick an Arapaima or even Pacu into smaller tanks, and when they thrash around, they have enough force that they can actually break the tank, snap the front glass, or pop the seams, something like that. I've seen it happen multiple times.
Sounds like bad luck.
Yeah, that's definitely bad luck. We've had a lot of bad luck with tanks, but you know what? We've also had a lot of good luck. And we've had good things happen to us, like, you know, someone donating these lovely 1,000-gallon tank. I say with good luck. However, there was bad luck with that. We had trailer tires pop, and
that trailer was bad luck. That's
yeah,
for sure.
For sure. Josh, African cichlids with silver dollars. Can it be done? Of course. I see lots of people that keep African cichlids with silver dollars, so it 100% can be done. Michelle said, I just wish that back in the day I had known about feeding big fish, tilapia, and shrimp. Well, it's definitely a little bit more expensive, but they do love it. Andrew Millard says, does poop have protein? I'm not sure.
Maybe a little.
Yeah, that's a question for Google. I'm sorry. I don't know the, answer to that one. OBG Foster says, speaking of snails, why does OFR not have snails? We do have snails. We have thousands of snails. We have pest snails, we have assassin snails, and we have Malaysian trumpet snails. They're everywhere.
Not every day bad luck will get you buzzed, but it will today.
You know what? With a little bit of bad luck, I think you deserve to be buzzed. Ben Key says, at what size do you think the Pima has to be in the pool pond to go in the monster pond? I'm going to try at 4 feet, and we'll see about that. He is already at the 3 feet mark, so he is definitely putting on size quick, and he's hitting another growth spurt. So normally when fish grow, they'll grow in length, they'll get long and slender, they'll thin down, and then they'll grow through another growth spurt to where they get super thick and just plump. And then they'll, keep rinsing and repeating. They'll get longer, they'll get thicker. And right now he reached about 3 foot, and now he's starting to put on some mass. So once he stops doing that, he'll start growing in length again. He'll probably shoot up to about 42 inch or so, and then they kind of level out at that 40 to 44 inch mark. And then once they hit that 4 foot mark is when Pimas start slowing down tremendously on their growing, because a small one, if you have the right size tank, the right water temperature, water quality, and enough food, you can get an Arapaima to grow like 3 inches a month, and that is absolutely insane. So I think the record right now, I know someone who's gotten a Pima to 3.5 foot in 1 year. And that's just absolutely ridiculous. We grew Brutus from like 26 inches to almost 4 foot. And by the time he was 2 years old, we got him probably at about a year. And another year to take him to grow to 4 foot. And now he's 3 years old. He just turned 3 back in September. So he's about 3 years and 4 months, and he's about 5.5 foot. So that is a lot of growth. This thing jumps a lot with this pinwheel on this mouse. Someone's asking if we have Asian red-tailed catfish. We actually have 2, and They're actually small right now. One's probably about 16-inch, and the other one's about 12. Fradger says, Josh, if you could keep only one kind of fish for the rest of your life, what would it be? Can I just say catfish? Or do I have to get like species specific? If I had to, my favorite catfish is the goonch. Absolutely love that fish, and I love my Goliath tiger fish. That thing is awesome. You know, he's over there yelling GATF as I'm saying it. But those are absolutely my two favorite fish. So my favorite catfish and my favorite non-catfish. So those two, I can have the goonch on the bottom and the GATF swimming up top. I'd be a happy guy. So we just read that one. Kieran O'Callahan says, today I found my parrot and my several locking mouths. And any advice on how to stop it? So there's a couple things you could possibly do. You could change up the decoration in the tank, add different types of plants to try and give like a visual stop to where the fish can't, you know, see each other. Or if you upgrade their tank size, sometimes that'll help curb the aggression. You can always stuff them full of food to where they don't want to, you know, pretty much do much. They just want to swim. They don't want to fight and protect their area. I don't think they would be breeding, but if it does happen, maybe your parrot's trying to protect its breeding spot and it's trying to ward away the other fish. That could be a possibility. You could take away its, you know, breeding area or take away its mate. So yeah, there's a couple things there you could possibly do. Oh, we got Drew Ridenor. So I've been watching your channel since the start, and this is the first time I've been able to watch a live stream. Super excited. Well, we're super excited to have you here and glad you could watch. Okay. Josh, have you ever kept largemouth bass? We actually have one now in the native tank with the bowfin. And we actually have a long-nosed gar and another bowfin coming tomorrow. And I actually have to message him now. Yes, you can bring him because I forgot to message him back.
No time like a present.
So the work never stops. So I got to make sure I have a quarantine tank for them to go into, which actually, no, I'm fine. I've got a 40 and a 75 out there open. Probably have a few more I can free up as well. So yeah, that'll be great. So we'll end up adding them to the native tank as well. But yes, largemouth bass are absolutely crazy. They are just pigs. UDT Ghost says, how's Big Bill doing? You might see Big Bill actually swim around on camera right here behind me. But she is doing wonderful. She has a bunch of friends in there. There's 5 or so red-tailed cats that are all absolutely massive in the monster pond. Allison Berry says, have y'all made a video about frequently asked questions that you get a lot, like Schwarzenegger, the Pima, etc.? Maybe that would save you from answering them so often. So I haven't made a specific video about it, but in different videos that they get mentioned, I do talk about it. Like if we're in the 4400 and I see Schwarzenegger and I'm talking about him, I'll then bring up this point again because I'm talking about him and I remember people are asking about him and this question always persists. So I try and insert those facts into different videos because everyone might not watch every single video, but there are some diehards out there that watch every single video. So you guys rock. Oh, the Rays look like they're watching the live stream. Yeah, they're super excited. Actually, right here in this corner, right there, there is actually the water outlet. So they are staying not nice and warm. which is kind of crazy because that water comes out super hot, and we keep the Stingray pond at right now it's sitting at probably about 82, 83 degrees. In the summertime, it can get up to about 85. But right now, since it's an open top, we've got a lot of heat dissipating into the air. If we wanted to try and retain that heat, we could try and put a cover over the pond, but that would prove kind of hard because we've got plants in there, like right there. The rocks all the way around the outside. Then we'd have to devise a way to take it off and, check the fish and feed the fish. So it's kind of a pain, but I do have an idea that we could do it. It would just involve, you wouldn't be able to have the projector on the ceiling. And my dad's not ready to take down the screen in the room. So for now, we have it open and we just, dissipate some of that heat. Oh, this stream has flown by tonight. Thelma Hall says, can you talk about the shrimp tank? I've never seen anyone talk about what you do with them and feed them, etc. So we don't have a shrimp tank right now. We gave all of our shrimp out. But we, normally you can feed them small pellets, or they'll feed on the detritus in the water, and they'll be able to feed that way. There might be live nutrients you can add in with the tank. We got Norman R. You guys remember him and his wife donated that awesome 580 gallon tank. He's asking about any news on the 580. If you actually see right here where this, the top right behind the OFR sign, the 580 is set up right there, and it's in multiple videos. It's filled up. It has water in it right now. And right now there is a couple catfish in it, but there is plans to add a few more. So yeah, the tank is great. It did not break in transport. It's always a concern with glass tanks in transport. If it's tweaked the wrong way, it could pop a seam. So I wasn't sure if I had to reseal the tank at all, but that thing was a trooper, and it sets it up now, and it's beautiful. So we have it on a pass-through system from the monster pond. So we pump water up to it. Oh, it's actually that way. We pump water up to it. It cycles through the tank, and then it comes out the overflow and back into the river system right there through that white pipe. That's a 2-inch outlet coming straight from the overflow. So, yeah, it's set up in the pond room right by the 350 and by the monster pond. So soon that whole room will be nothing but fish tanks. So it's slowly been taken over. I do remember a time when we said, the fish stay in the fish room. We're not infiltrating the pool room. And then slowly but surely, we've slowly infiltrated, and now it's just taken over. We've added on more rooms, and if you guys remember from the other streams, thinking about doing another addition, or if we can get the government grants, we can actually turn OFR into a rescue and a public aquarium, go into a much bigger facility, be able to take our operation to the next level, open it up to the public, and be able to do greater things. So, but that would take one hell of a grant writer and lots of funds, which we do not have right now. So we got UDT Ghost. Welcome to the green team. Glad to have you here. Dean Reynolds asked about you have 1 or 2 GATF at OFR. I see just 1. We used to have 2, but the larger of the 2 actually got a hold of the smaller one. So we only have one right now. Okay, so we got time for just a few more questions tonight. So Sony's asking what's the biggest fish you've had. That would be Brutus. Now we got the Aka guy for $5. He didn't say anything, so I'm just gonna say cheers to bad luck. Hmm. Yeah. All right. So plans this weekend. While my dad's done and sick, not really sure what I'm going to get done, but I'm gonna do something out in the fish room. Try and get a head out there. I might try and start working towards trying to help him get that salt water tank in or get the tanning bed moved. I can get a few friends over and move that down and get step one out of the way at least, or something to that sort. So yeah, not really sure on that, but we're always doing something here at the Ohio Fish Rescue. Someone was asking what's your favorite type of Synodontis. So I'm not sure if you're talking about species wise, but I definitely do love the Jaguar Synodontis. And right now, with the last trip over to New York, we got 4 awesome gold Synodontis cats, and they're absolutely sweet. So that's become one of my new favorite Synodontis cats. A couple of them will go into the 1,000-gallon tank. So they'll definitely add some color to a darker tank. Excuse me. And then we have 2 eels in quarantine that we're working on growing out a bit, that once the catfish come out of the 1,000-gallon, the smaller eels can go in, and that's the albino, or the xanthic fire eel, and a black spotted eel. So they're growing up together. I want to get them nice and fat, as much meat on their body, for when we're ready we can go ahead and take that to the next level and make that 1,000-gallon that much more awesome. The regular fire eel, the black spotted, and the albino eel with the gold, or the gold eel with the gold Synodontis cats. I think that would look pretty awesome. But right now, the Planiceps in there, he's getting to a size that I think he would possibly eat some of those eels. So once he right now, he's growing tremendously. And the only thing I have to worry about in that tank right now is a bicher, which I don't think he's to that size to where he can take out this size of bicher yet. But soon he will be able to. So I'm going to have to start thinking about the next move where I can put this Planiceps that he can't get picked on. He can get ample amounts of food, and he has room to grow. It might be in with the Stingrays, but who knows? It might be in the 580. It might be the 1,000-gallon. But yeah, we've got plenty of tanks, and that's a great feeling, having more tank space than you actually need, because you've got all this room for activities. But at the same time, we know that we have fish growing out that aren't going to stay small, so we're going to need these large tanks. So we're not real haste on trying to fill these tanks up with fish just to get fish in there and do some videos on them. We're trying to play the smart role and do it over time, and give the fish that we have here the best type of enclosure and care that we can. So we definitely still have to decorate the 580, but we don't know what we're going to do with it yet. It was supposed to be the river tank for the goonch, but like I've preached before, the goonch is growing so well, and I hand feed him right now. I would lose that ability in the 580, so I want to keep him where he's at, because that thing's freaking awesome. He's my baby. All right, let's see. Oh, that's jumpy. All right, we got one more question. Now we're going to go ahead and sign off here for the night. Let me look. Let's get a good one. What's the coldest water cichlids can live in? Live for night or two. Storm coming, might shut my lights off. So depending on what kind of cichlids you're talking about, there are some that can get a little bit cooler. But if you're talking about like Africans and whatnot, I know that they have cichlid ponds in Florida, and there are times that storms will come through or cold weather will come through, and the outside temps have gotten down to 50 degrees. Now I'm not saying the water can get down to that temperature, but I'm not sure if you're talking about an above ground pond or if it's an in ground pond. If you're in ground, it should be able to retain heat. And if it's a quick storm and passing over, you should be fine. But one thing you can do is you can try and cover the pond. If it's a smaller pond, you'll be able to retain some of that heat. I mean, I guess it's kind of all dependent on what kind of temperatures you're talking about and the scenario with the pond. If it's above ground, if it's in ground, are you really reliant on heat? Are you up here in West Virginia, your normal climates, but you're heating an outdoor pond to where you're having a snowstorm come through that might get down to 30 degrees, and you're really worried about the fish. That way you might have a little bit more of a problem. But at that time, one thing you can always do, if you get like a fire ring or a float or something, like a fire pit insert, you can float that on top of your water and actually start a fire in there, and you would be able to heat the pond and not have electricity. Because without power, you don't have pumps, so you can't run heat like that. Or I've seen people get copper tubing. We actually almost went to this extreme with the monster pond. In a 55-gallon barrel, you put a bunch of copper tubing, light a fire in there, it'll heat up the copper tubing, put a pump in your pond, pump through it, and pump back to your pond, and you've got heat from a fire. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can heat the pond, but it all depends on your situation. But yeah, African cichlids, I would not let them get 65 degrees, possibly. I think that's kind of the turning point. They start going a little bit more dormant. They might be able to resist a little bit past that, but at that point you're going to start having their system shut down on them, and they're going to start passing. So I hope that was a good question to end tonight with. I hope you guys enjoyed. We will catch you all next week on another Stay Fishy Friday. So as always, stay fishy, my friends.